That's fun. So, well, welcome everybody, and so grateful to have everyone here today. And I think many of you are faces I've seen in other sessions. And my name is Dr. Erin English. I work for the San Diego County Office of Education as the Executive Director of Innovation. And San Diego County is co-sponsoring this event, but it is hosted by the Jacobs Institute, who I have such high regard for. And so thank you for being here. And it's my pleasure to introduce the next guest speaker. And her name is Claudine James. And I'm going to read your bio, and I'm going to read just the little things that you had written in case anyone missed that part. She's had over 12 years in a teaching career, and she's been awarded many awards as being being National Board certified and ESL certified. Recently, her success has been on a different level. She's a leading educator figure, breaking boundaries and spreading dynamic, original, attractive, and consumable learning content. And she's honored to join and share with her views, vision, experience, and expertise along with her peers. And as a TikTok, she started posting grammar lessons on TikTok, and that's one way to reach Claudine. That's amazing on TikTok in order to reach virtual students who weren't watching her YouTube. A year later, wait, I'm going to read this again. A year later, she has 3.23 million TikTok followers from 82 countries. You are a rock star. Amazing. Well, without further ado, please.
Well, hello everyone, and good afternoon. And Erin, thank you for that great introduction. But time stands still for no man. And with that being said, since school has been out, we've been out of school now for 1 week. I have gained some new followers, and I am at now 3.6 million followers. I gained like 100,000 followers overnight. And I'm going to do something that I often tell my students that only the best can do this. I'm going to start at the end of the story and go back to the beginning, only because I wanted to just kind of, I guess, challenge myself because I don't have anything written down, but I know my dad always says, if you tell the truth, you know how to tell it. So I'm just going to tell you the truth, and it's just a story. 3.6 million followers. And overnight, I gained 100,000 followers. And this is the video that went crazy. You're not going to believe it. Ice cream, ICE space CREAM. Ice cream, one word, or ice cream with a hyphen in the middle between ice and cream. Which one is correct? The one that is correct is ice cream. You eat, it originally was called iced cream, but it's ice cream. Ice cream, one word, is not a word. Ice cream, one word, is not a word. And when you hyphenate ice cream, you only hyphenate it when you want to use it as an adjective. So if you said, I want a ice cream sundae, or instead of a butterscotch sundae, because butterscotch would describe the sundae and ice cream would describe the sundae. So you don't say, I want an ice sundae or a cream sundae, you want an ice cream sundae. So you hyphenate the word. That video, which is only about a week old, has almost near 2 million views, 160,000, I believe, likes, and thousands of comments. I haven't even been able to read the comments, but it's just, and so that shows, and that's why I'm telling the story backwards, that shows the power and potential of just bringing something, a tidbit of knowledge. The video is around 38 seconds long. And it just shows how you can bring a tidbit of knowledge to an audience, and it just mesmerizes them. It's so fascinating to me, the different people from around the world that have just started following me. Someone asked me earlier, tell me about your followers. And here's the deal. My followers are students, previous students, past students, even future students. But my audience is also moms at homeschool, dads at homeschool, professionals that need that reminder. I have, that I know of, probably about 100 Writers Guild that send my videos out through their Writers Guild, because these are like little tidbits of grammar that either you forgot or maybe you didn't know. My biggest following is from the Philippines, and that is crazy. I will look at most of my videos, and the majority of them will have anywhere from 25 to 40% of the viewers coming from the Philippines. And I don't know why. I don't know why. Another thing that is just really, really amazing is how everyone says that I teach in such a simplistic form that they can understand it. I think one of the most humbling remarks that I've ever had, and I get humbling remarks quite often, is a lady last month said that I had a stroke and I am recovering and I'm learning English all over again, and you're my teacher. I, with that, that's in a nutshell. Another person said that I wanted to always learn English, but I could never afford the classes. And with you, I tune in every day. A student, a female from Afghanistan said, I only get 1 hour of internet per day. I am a female, so I cannot go to school. And I spend 30 minutes to an hour of that day being educated by you. Thank you, teacher. And so, is there, what greater motivation do you have to post videos, after that? A lot of people ask me, did I expect this? I did not. It was simply a challenge by my students. It was like, okay, guys, I noticed that no one looked at my YouTube videos. And they was like, yes, we did. I said, no. I had 25 people quarantined last week. There are 2 views on the YouTube videos. I like, no one's watching. And so this, I say really smart, but kind of like smart mouth kids say, well, if you put it on YouTube, maybe people will watch it. If you put it on TikTok, maybe people will watch it, because we're already on TikTok. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. That was my class right before lunch. Came home at lunch. My goddaughter called me and she said, what are you thinking about? I said, why you think I'm thinking about stuff? She said, because you're going to listen to my story. I said, well, I got my own problems, baby girl. And she said, what is it? I said, the kids want me to be on TikTok. And she said, why? And I said, they said to do grammar lessons. She's like, oh, great idea. My lunch break, we came up with the name. And I said, well, how do I sign up? She said, okay, just tell me what to do. I'll sign you up and then I'll send you the password and you get it. Before I went back to school, I had a TikTok name. I am an English teacher. I had my password, had everything set up. Got back to school. I told my next class what the 5th period class had told me. So I said, okay, what's 6th period gonna do to help me? And it's like, okay, Miss James, put a video. And you know how you say first impressions or lasting impressions? I say that all the time, but I was not thinking. My first video looks like the home movies that my uncle used to show us in my grandmother's dining room. I don't even know where the footage came from. And so came home, started getting, likes and things. When I went back to school the next day, I had 1,000 followers, 1,000 followers overnight. So I told the students, I was like, y'all, these people are following me. I was like, would y'all follow me too? Maybe I can really get a lot of followers. And the more followers I have, because the more your video is seen, it goes on to what is called a For You page. And so that's just sort of like the page that everybody sees, because it goes by algorithm. And so the algorithm picks up and it sees how many people are actually engaged with the video. And the more people that are engaged with the
My
video,
apologies.
the
Sorry, Claudine. I was
that's
looking you
okay.
up. I was
That's okay.
following along with your TikTok page.
That's happened before. I love it. I love it.
You have
So
one more follower now.
yeah. And so the more people are engaged, the more the algorithm sends it out to other people. So I was telling my students, because I looked it up, and I said, y'all follow me? And it's like, no, Ms. Amy, we're not going to follow you because we don't want you to see our page. And I was like, okay, y'all, but if you would, it'd make me have more followers. And I'll never forget this. This was the first week of December. And my birthday was that weekend. And remember this is 2020. So, my kids are grown. My boys were not going to come home because of, just COVID restrictions and everything. And I thought normally my sisters and I have a, me cook all feast almost all day. That wasn't going to happen. And I thought I'm going to have the most boring birthday ever. Did not happen. Did not happen. All weekend, I laid in my bed responding to new followers, da da da. And in 1 week, I had 10,000 followers. And so when I go back that Monday, the kids were like, Miss James, you blew up. I said, where? And they said on TikTok. I was like, what does that mean? It's like, you're on my For You page. I saw your videos. I didn't even have to follow you. And I was like, yay. And they're like, would you follow me? Follow who? And I was like, remember last week when I asked for the follow and you said no? And they were like, yeah, but no, Miss James, it's different now. Follow me. And I was like, no, I'm not going to follow any of you. It's over. So one day, 1,000 followers, 1 week, 10,000 followers, and in 6 weeks, 100,000 followers. And so after I had 100,000 followers, somehow it got to the news station, and the local news station contacted me. And because of COVID and everything, they were dying to come to my school, but they didn't. We did a interview from my classroom and did that, and it was on the news. And somehow or another, it was picked up in syndication because I started having TikTok followers tell me they saw me on the news in Canada, on the news in New York, Las Vegas. I mean, it was just crazy. And so it just went on from there. I started on November the 30th of 2020. And by spring break, this is the crazy part. I wish that I could go back. I don't know why I didn't record these things because, it's like to have recorded this. One weekend in March, I gained 300,000 followers in a weekend. And the video was on the congregation of isn't or hasn't has haven't had. Has haven't had. Just that simple. And that video now has 55 million views. I think maybe 20 million likes. It's unreal. I can't even remember. And so it's just the little simple things that really get people and sort of get their attention. This is not anything I planned, but am I loving it? Yes. I've always wanted to be an educator. When I was 6 years old, I remember I graduated from kindergarten. And because I'm in my 50s, when I was in school, there wasn't a public kindergarten. And so my grandparents paid me to go to what we called Miss Odie's daycare. And this was just a lady from the church that had an inkling for teaching. I just found out like a couple of years ago, she didn't even have any formal education. And how she set me on the road for success is just amazing. And so when I left Miss Odie's daycare, and that was for kindergarten, I went to first grade. Well, when I got to first grade, Miss Odie had already taught me to read. So I could read in first grade. And my first grade teacher, Miss Jones, had two reading groups. The reading group that she had and the reading group that I had. And she let me teach reading because I already knew how to read and I liked it. And I remember my mom telling her that we will be moving to the other part of town at the end of the semester because our new house will be finished. And she was so upset. And she was like, well, if you could just let her finish the year here, it won't be any problem. But we ended up moving and we moved to another part of town, and I got a chance to have another amazing first grade teacher. Her name was Miss Rimley. And I went right into Miss Rimley's class and, just fit right in. And I'm a great storyteller. So I'm going to just do a little hibernation from my TikTok story. And I'm going to tell you about Miss Rimley, my first grade teacher. Next week, Miss Rimley will be 105 years old. And I plan on seeing my first grade 105-year-old teacher. When she turned 100, I actually got a chance to interview her, and I wrote the story about how she was influential in my just I guess you could say, cascade to loving education. And so we're going to have another interview for her 105th. And do you know that she still remembers where I sat in her class? Uh, and so imagine how the Social Security benefits are turned upside down when she's been retired longer than she's actually worked, because she's 105 years old. So I think that's pretty amazing. So I did a video with Miss Rimley, and it actually was on TikTok, and I talked about how she was an inspiration to me and helping me to get to where I felt comfortable and standing up in front of people. And she just opened my arms. So from first grade, that was just like the inkling that really just sparked me. And so it's just been a total just climbing the mountain from that point. I believe the whole thing about TikTok and why it's so engaging to people is because I have my ESL certification, English as a second language. And if you live in California, then you know that that is really important, because a lot of students come to the classroom and not having any basic foundational English language learning skills. My first year teaching had a student from the country India, and his name was Kashan. And I remember feeling so inadequate because I didn't know anything. I didn't know how to teach him. I did not have that English language learners portfolio. I just didn't know what to do. And I remember one day I said, "Oh, y'all are driving me up the walls." And he said, "Teacher, you're gonna go up there," because he didn't understand. And I thought, okay, I have to do something. So after my first year teaching, I went back and I got my ESL certification. And so with an ESL certification, it's sort of this model that you break things down to where someone can just walk in the room and they just hear just what you're saying right then, and it'll make sense. And so a lot of people say that that is the thing for them, is that the way I explain something, I explain it to where it makes sense, and it really makes sense for a lot of English language learners. I know sometimes people ask me, will I do a diagram? And then I'll ask them why. Why do you want me to do a TikTok about diagram? And it's like, well, I used to do that in school, and guess what? Statistics say that it doesn't have a value. Yes, that this word goes in the line, and maybe it'll help you because you know that an infinitive is perched on that little thing. But in the long run, that's really not helping you to become a better writer. You just need to know what function those words serve in a sentence. So it's been mind-boggling in that almost on a consistent basis, I have people asking me for the most simple language skills to review. And I remember I've had this comment so many times, and you know that emoji that has someone running, and they'll have that emoji with someone running, and it'll be like, I'm running back to my school to ask them for a refund. Or, I'm running back to school to tell my teacher she had it all wrong. And I probably have had hundreds of thousands of comments that say, not me learning more on TikTok than I did, in 12 years of school. All of those things are humbling. For someone like me who is obsessed with legacy, that really just does my heart good. And so it's not so much me, I don't think, but in some instances, I think maybe so. But it's giving someone or giving my audience a product that they didn't even know that they needed. And that's the thing, giving them a product that they didn't even know they needed. I was recently asked to be a part of a TikTok community because TikTok wants to be inclusive. And so they have a separate sort of, like, I guess you could say, if you were in an organization, sort of like subcommittees, but it's not really a committee, it's just subgroups. And the group that I am in is called #Black TikTok. So they are intentional in trying to help, as they call creators, TikTok creators, to remain a vital force on TikTok and to give them extra help needed to be able to navigate the woes. And that was sort of, I don't even know what to say. It wasn't mind blowing. It was just an amazing honor because they chose only a select few of people to receive that honor. 6 months after becoming a TikTok creator, I received a letter from the TikTok marketing firm. And this is in 2021, and they recognized the fact that educators all over the world had went the extra mile during the pandemic. And they had a committee, and they selected 10 TikTok teachers who they felt like were standout teachers on the app. And they picked one from every different content area: one English teacher, one drama teacher, one coach, one science, one math teacher. And they picked 10. And I was an English teacher. And they gifted each of us $5,000 to help us remain on the app. So my $5,000 was spent buying the latest new iPhone and various tripods and lighting and a new iPad so I could, just be more functional on the app. And immediately after receiving that, I had another company, OSMO, and they do a lot of innovation as far as toys and learning. And they wanted to gift me something to help me continue to remain on social media teaching, and they gifted me $500. And the ironic part about that is the $500 I spent on, let me see if I can find them. They're right here. I spent on these markers. And I ordered, and their $500 was a $500 Amazon gift card. These markers are $14, but they have this huge fat chisel, and these are the ones I use on my board and my TikTok because the fatter the writing is, the better you can see it from afar. So I thought that was sort of ironic, and I am so very grateful, very, very thankful, and just honored that I was able to receive those blessings in order to help me continue to be on TikTok. A lot of people ask me, how many sponsors do you have? I bet you're making lots of money, extra money from TikTok. I bet you have lots of sponsors. I do not know why. It is the $1,000,000 question. I get the most bogus offers that anyone's probably ever heard of. I had a offer this morning. A lady wanted me to help them promote their coffee, and she's going to send me a mug, and I could drink the coffee, and I could tell everybody about the mug, and I could offer them a discount on the mug. And then if people bought the mug, I would get 10% of the mug sale. And I told the lady, I was like, I don't know where the message got crossed up at, but educators are overworked and underpaid. We don't need mugs. We don't even need coffee at this point. We need gas money. We need gas money. So thank you for that offer. But unless you have some dollars I can put in the checking account to help me with gas, I'm not interested. Last week, I got offered a $15 pencil sharpener. I've got offered a t-shirt. Someone wanted to give me a free subscription to some app that I could use in my classroom. We don't have time to use that app. I mean, I'm not going to do a video for you for that. So I don't know why I don't have the lucrative offers. And sometimes I say to myself, maybe it's because this is where I'm supposed to be. And if I had some really lucrative offers, maybe I wouldn't be in my classroom, And I love my classroom, and I love my students. I love the fact that they pushed me into where I'm at. And I will forever have that story. I will forever have the story of saying that I was challenged by my students, and I picked up the challenge and ran with it. At the end of the school year, I asked my students to write an essay and to reflect on some of the things that they've learned in my classroom. And this year and last year, all the students, the just comment I just kept seeing was, through you, I've seen that nothing's impossible. If someone from this small town of 9,000 can be on a stage and teaching people from now 84 different countries, then what can I not do? So the motivation for my students is remarkable. And how have my students been a part of this success? They actually film my videos for me. I will, because of the pandemic, you didn't want to do a lot of touching. So in every class, I would find the student who had, quote, the best iPhone, and they would record my video and they would just airdrop it to me. I didn't have to touch their phone. They didn't have to touch my phone. And in fact, I had a couple of parents say, now look here, so and so said that you said for them to get a new iPhone so they can record the video. And I said, no, I didn't. But I'll never forget Sadie. For Christmas, she came back and she said, Miss James, I have the newest iPhone. I said, you do? And she said, yeah. She said, does that mean I'm recording now? And I said, that means you're recording now. So that's sort of how my students have been. I get the ideas from what video I'm going to do based on my students' writing, what they write, some of the mistakes they make, and I also get a lot of video ideas from my followers and from people I follow who make ample mistakes all the time. And so I am ready for any questions. I think I've talked for 30 minutes, and as you can tell, I can talk without a piece of paper.
So Claudine, we'll have the questions come up in our chat. And I have a couple of questions. First of all, I'm so in awe of you. And also what you were saying about the offers that you're getting is so typical of being a woman teacher also. And to me, that's just mind boggling. And kept thinking, oh, we could have you make money other ways because it's amazing, but amazing what you're doing. What advice would you give a new TikToker, a teacher, educator, or how did you come up with your?
Okay, I forgot to tell that part of the story. I'm so glad you mentioned that. So guess what amazing news happened? This is so great. So the Arkansas State Department of Education, which is, in my state, someone contacted me from there and said that we are getting ready to roll out some new professional learning videos for teacher PDs for the summer. And we heard about your TikTok and we would like to use it. So I was like, okay, in what manner? And so we went back and forth. They even gave me ideas. Would you make a TikTok about this? Would you make a TikTok about this? And I actually made several TikToks at their request. And they chose my TikTok about family. And so I did a TikTok where I talked about the family isn't exactly what we think it is anymore. It's not a mom or a dad. It could be an extended family. It's all kinds of people. This year has been, I don't know, eye-opening, mind-boggling, and also sad. I had 8 students this year that have a parent that is deceased. I have 100 students, and 8 of those students had a parent that was deceased. So we talked about how family, the network of the family is not the same as it was, 50 years ago. So they took that video, and that video shows my TikTok banner and everything is embedded in the 2-hour course on family and community engagement. And it is highlighted as a model of how an educator can use social media and engage families and the community. So that is a huge honor. No payment from that, but can you imagine saying, okay, the state, is using my TikTok to highlight how teachers should engage. So one of the things that they suggested, and I didn't even know that there was a rubric, but they said all my videos were just check mark off the rubric. One of the things they suggest for an educator is to keep it short, tell a story, and stick with one point and make it engaging. And that's how it is. And I still question is, how have any of your students used your experience to further their other education through social media? I can't say that I really can't say that I think any of them have. I think one of the things they do, and it's just typical of middle school students, is brag. I remember one of my students said, Miss James, my cousin was telling me about how he was getting really smart and he was going to get really good at writing. And I asked him, how, what are y'all doing at school? He's like, I'm not doing anything at school. He's like, I'm watching this TikTok teacher. And he's like, you are? Who is it? Send me the thing. And he's like, hey, that's my teacher. He's like, that's your teacher and you still make all those grammar mistakes? And so he's like, Miss Davis, I watched all your videos. He said, because now he's grading my text messages to him. So I think that for the most part, it's I have so many parents say, thank you, thank you. I didn't know how to explain this. Thank you for showing me that. And imagine a student that's an ESL student and I explain something in class, especially something that has to do with grammar or language acquisition, and you may or may not get it, or you may be embarrassed to answer a question, but you can go home and replay that over and over again. You can go home and show that to your parents, and they look at it and learn from that. So I think that's one of the things that has motivated my students because they realize that other students are learning from me and they are not willing to let someone, in California beat them out on writing and learning from me. Would you say that through your lessons that you still affirm people? I think that I do because especially being ESL certified, some people say they want language acquisition to be successful in whatever they're doing. And that's fine. All of us have a home language or a language. When I'm not sitting here being Miss James, when I'm talking to my nieces and nephews or my kids, it's a whole different thing. I remember my niece brought over a friend that happened to be one of my students, and the student went back to school. She's like, Miss James talks funny at home, So we actually, recognize that just because you know that this is the way to write, this is the way to speak for educational, that you still, whatever how you talk has value. And I'll add one more thing to that before I answer the next question, because I can't wait to answer the next question, is that I find oftentimes that people say that as an African American, I may try to negate African American vernacular dialect. And I made a video with, this is simply how the video was maybe 12 seconds. I said, do you say ask or ask? Do you say ask or ask? And it was, it's more comments than it is likes, because that just started that engagement talking about the the language of your home language, the language that you pick up, or even street language. One of the funniest videos, and it's recently posted, and it's so cute. I posed a question to one of my students, and I said, "Why do y'all say this?" And she said, "Miss James, it's American teenage language." And all the kids was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Not the teenage language." And so I try to still give reference to the fact that we all have our own home language or our native language, and we don't want to say that that's not correct. I'm just helping you if you want to refine your English language skills. What's my favorite thing about making these videos? It's so many things, but I'm gonna tell you something that is life lasting to me. Is I have a 7-year-old granddaughter, and she says all the time, Nene, I want to be like you. And so last week when I went to visit, that's all she wanted to do is record videos. And she's my granddaughter. She's 7. I think she's adorably cute and smart. But let me tell you something. This child takes my iPhone and she says, what do you want to make a video about? And I'll tell her, I don't tell her the script. I don't tell her what to say or anything. And she records, doesn't lose the camera shot, and still talks back to me. So it's a sort of a joke now that my granddaughter is my summer student. So that to me is what is my favorite thing is that you always want to inspire people, but just knowing that I've inspired my granddaughter, that's life changing for me. It's life changing. So if anyone knows of any avenues that um say perhaps that I could get a sponsor, I would be very open to that. I told this lady today, I was like, I don't understand how someone can just get in front of the camera and shake their rear for 30 seconds and you all want to, throw out something for them. And a teacher gets up here and makes a lesson about something that most people don't even think about. And you want to give me a pencil sharpener, you want to give me a coffee mug.
Claudine, I'll think about that. I work at the county office of ed. I'm actually retiring soon. I mean, tomorrow is my last day.
Oh, wow.
Retiring.
Congratulations.
Retiring. But I have been doing this noodling the whole time you've been talking and thinking there has to be an avenue for this. Even if you you're showing something of a product while you're doing your TikTok, while you're continuing to do your stuff, you have their product. And then because you're showing their product to millions and millions of people, they're giving you a royalty.
Well, and even like my markers, because lots of people say,
Right.
what kind of markers are those? And but I can't even find this company to send them things. You want to hear something really funny?
And I have
So
to jump off, Claudine. I'm so sorry. I have to
okay,
jump off. They
okay,
don't. I have to jump off, but no one else does.
okay,
I just have to get to
okay.
my
Well,
next
I'll
session.
continue.
Please keep me.
Okay. Thank you. Last week, I was eating some muffins, and because I'm starting to try to eat something differently, I was like, these muffins are so great. I was like, what if they would like sponsor me, for doing something for the muffin? So I go and I find the muffin company and I write them and I said, hey, I eat these. I'm a teacher. I could do a video, da da da. And I write them and I tell them. And the lady says, oh, thank you so much for loving our muffins. I'm so glad you enjoy them. But right now we do have a TikTok account, but we are not looking to expand it or add anything. But thank you so much. And we're going to send you something. They sent me $1 off coupons. Well, at least I did get something off of that. I will buy the muffins again. So I get $4 off the next time I buy 4 packages of the muffin. I think it's about time for me to end the session. And I thank you guys so much for enjoying and just being here. I love sharing my story. I think that it's inspiring to other educators. And I hope that there will be a whole slew of educators that will look at social media and look at the potential. Another thing I forgot to mention, College Board, if you are familiar with College Board, who wrote the SAT test and administered SAT test and also administered the AP courses. College Board wrote an article, and the article was 5 famous TikTok educators everyone should follow. And guess who's number 1? So that to me is a huge pat on my back for my state using one of my videos to embed it in teacher learning, and for College Board to say, okay, you should be following this teacher. That in itself is a lasting legacy. And if I'm not compensated any other way, I've shown that education is the most powerful weapon used to change the world. So I thank you guys for joining me, and I probably will see you somewhere else in the online field. Good evening to all of you.